All right. Excellent. Cool. So, today I just wanted to talk a little bit about how to improve your life. If you're new here, if you just want to check things out, hit the subscribe button. And we're going to do more live streams coming up and definitely more written content. Today I just wanted to pop off and start my day off with something special because I was just thinking while I was brushing my teeth and I was like, how did I get here? Right? If you're someone like me, you grew up in a small town, you went to high school, did all the normal things, did all the things that you were taught to do, right? You might have worked at a grocery store, you might have a dog, you know, you might have been paying your own car bills since you were 16, and you've always thought about getting into the film business, right? You've always wanted to, you know, do something cool, film something, shoot something, you know. You look at TikTok and you're like, man, I could do that. And I want to tell you today that you can. But today I really want to talk to you about how to increase your value because if you're working at a grocery store and you're working at, maybe a restaurant and you've always had this goal of, let's just say being a writer. If you've always wanted to write for films and you're like, how do I do that as a career, right? Like if you're working at a restaurant, how do you make writing, how do you make money doing that, right? So what you want to do first off is start, right? Whatever it is you're doing, if you're writing, if you want to film, camera guy, sound guy, if you just want to be on set, what you have to do is just start. Just start doing something. Do it for free. Help somebody. If you see someone, go on some Facebook pages, like reach out, just start. Ask your friends if they know anyone, right? Just start from nothing. Because you're gonna learn a lot. And what I want to talk to you about is your value, right? Um, I don't want to get too deep on, uh, you know, psychologically or philosophically. We all have innate value as human beings, but I want to talk to you about how to bring your value to what you're doing. Okay, because if you are, go with that writing example. If you're a writer, how do you increase your value as a writer? How do you make money by being a writer, right? So you want to look at yourself kind of like from a third person perspective, right? If you were everyone else in the world, what type of writer would you want to hire? Would you want to hire a writer that doesn't write every day, every week? Would you want to hire a writer that is unsure about what their story is about? Right. So what you want to do is, let's say if you're like this cup, right? Let's use this cup. I love New York. Hey. So say you're like this cup. Okay. How do you increase the value of this cup? So you could put water in here, right? How valuable is that water right now? I'm assuming you're somewhere in the U.S. Um, the water isn't that valuable, but let's say you put gold in it. How valuable is that then? Okay, you want to look at yourself as an entity. If that sounds kind of weird. If you're looking at yourself from a writer perspective, if this is a writer, how do you make this more valuable? Let me tell you, you take classes, you put it in there, you get mentors, you watch films of stuff that you want to write, you read critiques about what you just watched, right? You keep putting all of these things in here because the thing about this example is that a cup can actually be filled to the brim, but your brain with knowledge and experience is almost infinite. It's not actually infinite, but it's almost infinite, right? You take all of the experiences that you've ever had and you keep learning and learning and learning. Okay, I'm going to put this aside. But so the thing is, when you increase your value like that, increase when you invest in yourself by finding a mentor, by taking classes, by writing every day, by writing every week, by reading books by authors that you like and don't like. Here's the thing, also read things what you don't like, but be able to describe why you don't like it. Okay, this is a really big thing Because a lot of times I see things now where it's like I only read what I like. That's really good so that you have like a very, you know, huge knowledge and experience of things that you like. But it's also good to expand your horizons because sometimes there's something that you think you might not have liked, but you actually really enjoy, right? So every once in a while, reach into that book club, watch some movies that you definitely you're like, oh, I would hate watching that movie. Go ahead and watch it, right? Increase your overall view of this thing that life, these these experiences, and when you do that, when you do that, what happens is that it actually makes your view stronger because you're able to communicate to let's say you love romance films, right? And you hate like these Marvel movie things. Very controversial, but I'm sure there's some people out there, right? So if you watch a Marvel movie and you're able to explain to a Marvel fan why romance films are awesome, right? That is very valuable to you and to them because if you're into romance films and you don't get why people would ever watch a Marvel movie, when you sit down and watch a Marvel movie, watch critiques about it, when you read scripts about it, when you form your own opinion, write some stuff down, right? Share with your friends what you thought, then you could see like, oh, it's not that I don't enjoy the storyline, it's not that I don't enjoy the characters, it's just that there's it's pretty cliche or maybe the costume design is amazing and the music is amazing, but you don't like the way that it's filmed. Well, watching something and expanding your mind that way actually enables you to communicate what exactly you don't like rather than just like, oh, I don't like Marvel movies. Okay. Or maybe you don't like Marvel movies because it's destroying cinema. That's fair enough. So, why is it so important to do these things? Why is it so valuable for you to try and increase your value? Well, the thing is, we're so used to pushing, right? We're so used to trying to get a job. We're so used to applying and making things like crazy hard for yourself, right? So it actually makes your life much smoother, right? So when you have a job that you're applying for and you're overqualified for that job, it's much easier for you to get that job, right? So I've been having this experience recently where I have to turn down jobs. So if you keep doing this, you might not see the effects right away. But this is why I employ you to do this as soon as possible because the sooner you start, the younger you start, you're just investing and investing. And what isn't taught a lot in school is compound investment, right? And the reason why compound investment in something that you are interested in is so important is because that compound investment pays off on itself, right? So if you have a checking account that gives you 5% APR, right? That's 5% a year if you're younger, you put $100, then you get 5% per year. So that's each month you're making, I mean, $5. That would be crazy for a bank to give 5%. It's usually like zero point 0.2 or 0.03 or something like that. Don't want to get distracted here. So when you're investing on yourself, let's just say that 5%, right? That 5%, you then have $105 at the end of the month. Then you get the next month, you don't get 110, you get 110 point something, right? So the idea is that you don't just have that $100. You small moves every month. You have a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. So when you're investing in yourself with knowledge and experience, what happens is that you surround yourself with other people of similar investments, similar interests, right? If you're a writer, you find maybe a co-writer. Maybe you find someone else that's writing something that can give you valuable feedback on your work. Okay? So it's not just that you are also learning something, right? It's not that you're just becoming a better and better writer for film. If you're a cinematographer, that you're not just getting a little bit better at cinematography. You're also meeting other people that are better at cinematography than you are. They can give you valuable feedback. They can tell you exactly. So here's the thing: make it easy for yourself. You don't have to figure everything out by yourself, right? You can meet someone with more experience, and they're just like, oh, hey, you're dealing with this issue. Maybe you should try this because I was in a similar situation, and you can do this. And what happens is it makes it easier for you. And you just want to make your life easier, right? Why would you want to make your life harder? Okay. So the other thing is, well, Thomas, if I'm working at a restaurant, how do I find the time? Here's the thing: just find small amounts of time at first. Okay. It's really important to just have small increments of time where you're investing in yourself, even if it's 10 minutes a day, right? So if you're on YouTube here, you have access to the internet, you have access to YouTube, and pay attention to what you're watching. Okay, if you're watching sports, right? How much are you watching sports? How long are you watching sports? Why is that so important to you? Maybe you should be a film, like a film videographer, right? Look into how other people got into film video, right? Um, my job and my idea as a coach is just to make your life easier, right? To empower you with resources and knowledge to get you to where you want to go. Okay. So let's go back to that writing example. So if you want to become a writer for films, romance films, right? So instead of spending an hour a day uh, scrolling through Instagram, right? Spend 10 minutes writing your romance film, reading someone else's romance film. Then spend the rest of the 50 minutes on Instagram. So what you're going to find is when you start with just 10 minutes, you're going to be like, well, I'm already doing this. Let me go to 15. Okay. And so if you're doing that every day, so let's just say 10 minutes. You sit down and write for uh your romance novel film for 10 minutes a day. So if you start with 10 minutes each week, that's 70 minutes a week. And then in a month, uh let's actually pull it up because this is going to be really important. 70 minutes. So that's 240 minutes a month. Okay. So that's around 5 hours. Okay. So that's like a half day in 1 month. So if you're just doing 10 minutes, so if you double that, right? If you double that, that's about an 8-hour shift in 1 month. Now, I'm just starting out with 20 minutes a day. Obviously, you could do much more, but I just want to get this across to you that you don't have to make large 1 hour, 2 hour investments every day, that you could just do small 10-hour increments. Okay. And the reason why it's so compounding is that the next month you're going to look back and say, like, wow, I've gotten this much done. Okay. And I did that in 10 minutes a day. Let me do 15. Let me do 20. Let me do 30. 30 is where I'm happy, right? So if you're happy doing that, what happens is you then have a habit, which is really important. You're able to double down. You're able to see how much you're able to actually get done, and you have momentum. So once you have momentum with something, it's really important because if you're falling down a hill, it's easier if say you're halfway down a hill, right? And you've started falling down this way, or let's to make it nicer, you're on skis or something. So if you're halfway down the hill, when you have momentum going downwards, it's easier to just keep going down, right? Rather than try and stop and go up. So what you want to do is slowly build momentum like a snowball. Yeah, I like that. Like a snowball going down a snowy hill, right? Just start slowly building momentum because you keep picking up more and more momentum. And what happens, the next thing you know, a year or two later, you have written a short film. You've written maybe three or four. And when you have a romantic short film that you've written, or you're a cinematographer and you've been shooting small little videos on Instagram, putting them on TikTok or YouTube here, and what happens is you're able to look back and you're like, hey, I actually have 100, 200 followers. Wow, you actually have an audience then. You actually completed a short film, right? You're actually involved in something. And so I want to share with you, as someone that has done that over the process of about 10, 15 years now, uh, it's actually easier for me to get a job than it is for me not to get a job, right? So I work in film. I'm the sound mixer. I'm just making sure because I actually have a job that's supposed to swing by today for COVID tests. Um, it's actually easier for me to text someone and get a job than it is for me to schedule a day off. See if you just saw right there, I was just responding back to somebody. So for me to schedule a day off, I actually am in so much momentum in one direction that I have to make sure that I get my rest, make sure that I'm taking care of my body, make sure that I'm working out. Okay, so this is super important for you to know because if you see someone that's very successful, if you see someone that is a cinematographer and they have lots of, YouTube views, lots of Instagram followers, whatever you think is valuable, if you see someone and they're just doing really good work, it might be actually easier for them to do good work, to get hired on a job, than it is for them to just kind of chill out, right? So you do need some sort of balance as you find your own success as you progress throughout life. But when you're just starting out, if you're in a position where you're trying to find that balance between doing something new and working at your restaurant, just start a habit today. Let me know in the comments what habit you're trying to start, and just start doing a habit, something small, something you can do in 5 minutes. It doesn't have to be that big, and do that just every day. Just keep doing it every day for a month. Something that I've found is really helpful, and you could find helpful too, is it helps to have an end date. If you're like, okay, I'm going to do this new habit for 2 weeks, if I'm going to do this new habit for a month, okay, what that does is you're like, okay, I can do this because there's an end date, okay, and what you'll find when you get to that end date is you're going to be like, I don't want to stop doing this, or maybe you want to try something else, just mix it up a little bit. But the important thing is that you try something besides the mediocre, besides what you're already doing. You already know working at a restaurant is going to get you tips. You already know that it's going to get you how many tips. You already know that if you get a beer with your friends after work, you already know what the conversation is going to be about. Him and so did another thing, they did another thing, right? What if instead of having two beers, you have one beer and go home a little bit earlier? Okay? Think about how important that is to you. Okay, I just wanted to start your. I mean, it's 2 in the afternoon now, but I just wanted to start something off and just get the ball rolling here. If you check this out, thank you for watching. Let me know down in the comments below what new habit you're working on, and if you want to work together, this is something that is really important because over the past 10 years, I used to work at restaurants. I used to work at restaurants and film on the weekends. I used to work at a crab shack. It's called Luke's Lobster. So if you're in a position where you're working, or maybe you already are working in film, but you don't know how to get clients that are more reliable, you don't know how to increase your rates, you're frustrated, you're like, man, I know how to do this, but how do I contact more people? How do I get them to contact me? I've developed a course over the past, I've taken my experience from the past 10 years and baked it into an 8-week course so that you can learn everything that I've learned and put it to action, put it to good use, and you have me and everybody else in the course together to hold you accountable so that you can reach your goals, so that you can be happy with your life. And that's really what I want for you, is to be happy. So hit the subscribe button so we can have more of this. Any questions, please let me know. And have a lovely week. Happy New Year. Happy 2022. See you later.